On.
And off.
Hello. On.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear participants in COP29, welcome to our press conference. This press conference is called Values Guiding the Just Transition to Clean Energy. My name is Sonja Olsson, and I'm coordinating Brahma Kumaris Environment Initiative activities, and I will be your moderator here this morning. The world population is experiencing extreme suffering due to climate change and the extreme weather events, and it impacts our health, our economy, our livelihoods. So in this extreme crisis, can we afford to discuss values? Or is it essential to discuss values? Or is it that value-based leadership is exactly what we need to address the climate impacts more effectively? Our distinguished speakers today are thought leaders in the realm of spirituality, energy transition, and research. They are leaders in setting practical examples of implementing their experience and wisdom. So welcome to Maureen Goodman, Program Director from Brahma Kumaris in the UK.
Thank you.
Welcome to Golo Pils, Energy Advisor for the Brahma Kumaris, and Dr. Vibha Dhawan, Director General for TERI, Energy and Resource Institute in India. So let's start on the ground. My first question is to Golo. Golo Pils has played a key role in establishing Brahma Kumaris as one of the major users of renewable energies in India since the early 90s. Already in the 90s, we had solar cooking, steam cooking for kitchen and for dining and large installations. And recently, Golo has directed the construction of India 1 solar thermal power plant, partly sponsored by the German and Indian governments. So Golo, as the Brahma Kumaris Energy Advisor and visionary behind India 1, can you share the Brahma Kumaris approach to energy transition and its importance?
Yeah, thank you very much, Sonja, for the introduction. And our topic today is values guiding the just transition. And I'm a meditator since the last 40 years, and I'm trying to imbibe the following values: love, compassion, forgiveness, connection, and integrity. And I feel they're very, very important and at the foundation, at the root of all our actions. Once you more go deeply into these values and ethics, your actions also will be different, and they will be beneficial for the society and for the nature. And I would like to share a bit what Brahma Kumaris is doing practically in the field of renewable energies. We started in the mid-90s with the Department of Renewable Energies. We're recognized with the Indian government, and we do research in photovoltaic, solar steam cooking systems, recycling technologies, hot water plants, solar passive architecture, solar thermal power, and energy efficiency. And just let me walk you briefly what we have done over the years. 1997, we installed a solar steam cooking system in our campus in Gyan Sarovar, and based on 24 dishes, we produce steam for the kitchen. Then later in 1999, we have created a solar steam cooking system in our Shantivan campus, which provides 35,000 meals every day for our visitors and for our delegates who come to visit us. This is based on the Scheffler parabolic dish, and we cook by the power of sun for all these people. We also have a hospital in Mount Abu, and we installed also a solar steam system there, and we generate steam for the laundry, for the canteen, and for the sterilization. Then some years ago, we developed a 16 square meter dish, which we're also utilizing. All the technology is freely available also in the internet. Anybody can replicate these very beautiful little concentrators. We also promote in India the solar cooking box, a very useful gadget. We have distributed and sold more than 25,000 lanterns to the rural area around Mount Abu, where I stay. And Brahma Kumaris has more than 5,000 meditation centers in India. And many of our retreat centers, they go also now on solar energy. We try to inspire all our places to go green. This is our Om Shanti Retreat Center near Delhi. And we have equipped it with a 400 kilowatt power plant and also a solar steam cooking system. A couple of years ago, we went into solar thermal power generation with storage. Together with the German government and the Indian government, we have created India One, a 1 megawatt solar thermal power station with thermal storage. You might know that the energy transition is very closely linked to energy storage. And we developed in-house our own 60 square meter parabolic dish with thermal storage, and the plant is running since the last 6 years, very successful. Totally, we have 770 dishes, and we added recently also another 2 megawatt of photovoltaic there, and we supply the power to our campus very successfully. We also do training and education and try to bring the technology to the locals. We train them, we qualify them, and we do seminars with engineers all over India. We have also recently installed a biogas plant, and this is very successful. We do waste segregation and run a generator 8 hours, a 50 kilowatt generator for 8 hours. And many people come now and try to replicate this biogas. Recently, we also installed a new solar cooking system based on 150 kilowatt photovoltaic, and we use the electricity for induction cooking. Very successful, and our cooks are so happy that they want more cooking pots now. We also have a tree plantation program, Kalptaru, planted more than 2 million trees in India. We have a sustainable yogic farming program where we teach farmers meditation, and the results are very promising. So we can see that there is a lot of activity going on by the Brahma Kumaris in the field of environment, and I would like to call for a new paradigm where values and ethics are at the foundation of the green transition. And therefore, meditation is a very powerful tool to bring that inner transformation. We have also a platform called Yogis for Future, where you can download meditation commentaries for 5 minutes every morning, every evening, in order to find that inner tranquility and that inner transformation that will also bring change to your actions and benefit to nature and to the climate. Thank you very much, and I give back to Sonia.
Thank you, Golo, for sharing what we're doing on the ground. And my next question here is to Dr. Viba Davan, to my right. You are the Director General of the Energy and Resource Institute, TERI, and you're a leader in the fields of biotechnology and sustainable development. You have a long-standing career in TERI since 1985, and you have many influential roles and contributed extensively to scientific research. And last year you got 2 awards, Women in Agriculture Award and Social Impact Leadership Award. So the theme of COP29 is justice and just transition to clean technology. Just transition also means to protection of the most vulnerable communities, which are least responsible for the climate change. Dr. Davan, can you share about TERI's initiative and what you are doing to protect and support vulnerable communities in India?
Thank you so much. And of course, I have witnessed the great work which is being done by Brahma Kumaris. So it is lead the way by example. So if you visit their sites, you'll find the way the renewable energy is being utilized, how the waste is getting treated, and so on. Now, coming to the next question, and of course, everyone is talking of energy transition. And very rightly said that those who were not responsible for the climate change, they are the ones who are suffering the most. Now let's take, and I always say that each one of us is contributing to climate change, and each one of us is getting impacted by climate change. It is basically the degree that varies. If there is flood in New York, maybe the person over there won't even lose 1% of his total income that has been accumulated over years. But if there is a flood in the rural area of India, perhaps that family will lose everything. And they'll take not just a generation, but more than a generation to build the same. So therefore, the impact is different. Now we are talking of energy transition, which is actually required because the present day use of fossil energy that is causing too much of GHG emissions. And we are looking at difficult to abate sectors. We are looking at every sector, how the energy usage and how do we move from fossil fuel to cleaner ways of energy. Now, energy transition, it has different meaning for different people. Again, for a rural Indian kitchen, perhaps moving to clean energy, clean fuel for cooking makes all the difference. Indoor air pollution is something which is being neglected. And the many families in the developing part of the world which burn fuel wood of inferior quality, they suffer from lung diseases and so on. But it is something which is accepted. It's a norm. So for them, we have to move to cleaner fuel. It also serves the other purpose, like whether we look at the cow dung, whether we are looking at agriculture residue. So if that is converted into biogas, you are basically killing two birds with one stone. You are taking care of the waste management, and at the same time, you are providing renewable or clean energy to the rural kitchens. Now let me come to the next part. And if we look at countries like ours, it's the rural India, the development of that, the rural part is going to lead to success or development of the country. Now, one of the reasons why we have been comparatively slow is because there is no fossil fuel. And therefore, every drop of petrol is being imported, and therefore the production cost becomes expensive. It's energy excess at rural India level. Of course, now there is a scheme by Government of India whereby every village is electrified, but it's only electrification. It's not assured 24/7 electric supply. And thus, there is no value addition of perishables at site. There is no industry, and therefore they are forced to migrate to the cities. But if we provide them with adequate energy at the village level, their life will become simple and they can get into other livelihood opportunities. And that is what TERI has done. We, through CSR funding and through our other partners, we have provided rooftop solar for the industry. So, and those clusters, so there is one silk reeling cluster, there is one which makes wooden toys, and there is another one which makes copper utensils and so on, and artifacts. So what happens thereafter is, one is the clean fuel, the other is assured. Because when I was talking to him, he said, I used to have labor, and then at 12 o'clock the electricity goes and they all are sitting idle, but I have to pay them at the end of the day without any work. Now today in the morning itself, he knows that how much that the sun's energy is there, and therefore he can continue with so much of production. So it's cleaner, reliable fuel, and therefore he's able to supply to the clients in time delivery and thus able to earn. So it's a win-win situation. So it's creating job opportunities and without really damaging their health. So that is what the renewable role they are playing, and we are one of the players in this entire game of providing access to clean energy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dhawan. And yes, we all have to lead by example. We take that to heart, and very interesting to hear what Terry is doing for the rural communities. Thank you. Maureen Goodman, you are the Program Director of Brahma Kumaris in the UK and UN representative in Vienna. And you have presented at several UN climate change and biodiversity conferences, and you are deeply involved in interfaith dialogue, and also at the Elia Interfaith Institute, and you're on the board of World Religious Leaders and Ukraine Initiative. The theme of this press conference is on values, value-based transition, value-based leadership, personal values, community values. But can you share with us which values in particular we are talking about? For the energy transition, which values needs to be in the forefront? And what are the core values supporting the vulnerable populations?
Thank you, Sonia. And it's very heartening to hear of all the grassroots projects that are happening, and these are the things that really, I feel, give us hope. And of course, any action, anything that's happening on the ground, the seed of it is actually in the thoughts, the awareness, and the values that the people operating those projects hold. And according to that, so we see the outcome. Values are very, very important. And I've identified 3 main values, but of course there are very many. This has been talked about as a COP of finance, and a lot is talked about the equitable distribution of financial resources. One thing that's very important is not to see finance as a goal in itself. It actually is a means. And this attitude will help us to use our finance in a more equitable way. It'll actually help us to move away from the negative value of greed and the wish for more accumulation to the value of generosity. And a generosity of spirit is very much needed if we are to benefit the global south as much as the global north. I think the second value that is very important is the valuing all life, understanding the sacredness of all life. And this means, of course, human life, but also nature, also the whole of creation. And when there's the value for life, then this is what helps us move from a culture of exploitation to a culture of respect. And this will greatly affect the actions that we do, the decisions that we make, and we will make much better choices that will benefit all of us. At the moment, in terms of finance, still many of the loss and damage funds and so on are being given as loans, which indicates that the global north is still exploiting the global south. It's not really of benefit. And so a generosity of spirit, a value for all life, will help us to move away from this sort of paradigm and these kind of actions. The third value that I would identify is understanding our interconnectedness and that we are all part of one human family. And this helps us to understand that whatever is happening in the whole is going to affect us personally, and whatever we do personally will actually affect the whole. We are not isolated, and we cannot think that the actions in one part of the world is not going to impact another part of the world. And so this will help us to take better long-term decisions. we have a responsibility towards the whole world, to the whole human family. We have to remember that the world doesn't belong to one person or one group of people, but it actually belongs to all of us. And the important thing in this sort of attitude with these values is for us to move away from the influence, or even I would say the oppression, of vested interest towards understanding what we can do for the whole of humanity and for the whole of nature and our planet. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Maureen. And the values, generosity, value for life, interconnectedness, very good to be reminded and keep them in the forefront. So let's see if we have any questions from the audience here. Anything you'd like to ask our three guest speakers? Let's see if we can get the final comment from them. And also, I'll ask each one of you, we're in the beginning of the COP still, is Wednesday first week. So what are your hopes and wishes for this climate change conference and how to bring the values in the forefront, like 1 minute each? Golo, you start.
Yeah, thanks very much, Sonia. And my wish for the COP is that finally it is understood by everybody that the inner transformation is at the foundation of solving the climate crisis. If we want to achieve peace in the world, we have to become peaceful on the inside. And if we like to clean up the world, we have to clean up also on the inside a bit and become generous, loving, and compassionate. And as long as we see our inner world and what happens outside as two separate things, it will be very, very difficult. So I'm hoping that in this COP there will be more and more understanding for this connectedness, and more people understand that they have to turn also on the inside, and they're healing themselves on the inside, and then we all jointly together can heal the world. That's my wish for the COP.
Thank you. And Viva, next.
Yeah, thank you so very much. And very rightly mentioned, and I always say with so many negatives of COVID, it has taught us one important thing, and that is we only have one planet to live in. And what happens in one part of the world is definitely going to influence you. Now, unfortunately, what has happened over years, and I'll go back and rather looking at food security, way back, and I'm sure most of you remember what Green Revolution was. For Professor Borlaug, his dream was whatever research he has developed, take it to different parts of the globe. And he himself traveled to give those varieties and worked with the scientists how those can be grown in different countries. No money involved. Unfortunately, over years, we have become too materialistic. So today, when we are talking of climate change, first of all, one should be aware that if the clean technologies are not adopted by developing nations, the world is in trouble. And therefore, the technology sharing has to be there. Maybe one is not asking for free money, but at the same time, because today even research has become very expensive, but then the initial capex, initial money so that they can invest in cleaner technologies is required. And the other part is, let's look into in totality, what is it we are going to lose? It is not just air pollution, it is the health burden which is going to increase. And therefore, once we look into everything together, if you are talking about decentralized energy production, you are ensuring that those are made available to every citizen on this planet, I think the world will be a much better and peaceful place to live in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'll ask Maureen, and also I will ask Maureen to do a small reflection with us, and we can finish our press conference with we go inside with a small reflection. So you have like 3 minutes total for that. Yeah.
I think already something that is coming through is that people are understanding that the crises we're going through, the triple crises as we call it, that it's actually symptoms of a deeper crisis, a spiritual crisis, a crisis of values. And the more we understand that, the more we'll be able to make choices for the better, for the long term. I think in this COP, my wish is that whether it's at the government level, NGO level, other representatives, that we truly listen to each other, and in listening, we can come together for the good of the whole. So I'd like just to share a few thoughts for us to go inside, understanding that whatever is within is reflected without. If I wish for peace in the world, if I wish for flourishing in our world, I first have to find the peace within. I first have to flourish within myself and my life. Let me take a moment to go inside and reach the very heart of my being, and that the heart of my being is peace. This is our true identity. I am a being of peace. I share this with the whole of humanity. And in this awareness, I create an atmosphere of peace throughout our world. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Maureen, and to our speakers. If you want more information, you see our website there on the slide from Brahma Kumaris and from Terry. We have some announcements, and Maureen here is speaking 2:30 today in the Faith Pavilion on female leadership. If you want to know more, we have another press conference on interfaith, which is a big part of our work, at 4 o'clock in the same venue as here. And we're also doing a live stream every evening here from COP29, Climate Wisdom. And this evening, this is tomorrow evening. Yes, tomorrow evening we have from the Women Leadership in Climate Change. And you can join us on this link every evening for a live stream. And so thank you very much, and thanks to our speakers. And thank you and goodbye. Yes.